Hello again, fellow YouTubers and fellow Bond fans. Solomon Pleasant back for another James Bond movie review. And like I've said in my other videos, please give us suggestions for a new name. That's all I have to say. Comments below. As you can tell, wearing the same clothing, so I'm obviously doing two in one day. Wonderful. Because I felt I haven't done these for a while, and I need to keep it fresh in my head a little bit, even though I have a bunch of stuff going on. Anyway, so we are going to start reviewing our first Bond film with Daniel Craig in it. Awesome. So, let's not waste any time. Let's dive right into Casino Royale. Why am I like that? I don't care. Anyway. So, start off, we have story. Now, from what I managed to gather, Casino Royale is basically the James Bond reboot. And considering Die Another Day apparently didn't do well for some people. You know my opinions on that. So Casino Royale is basically the James Bond reboot. We're changing Bond up a little bit. We're giving a new actor. We're basically starting with the first story, which we probably should have actually done in the first place instead of starting with Dr. No. Oh well, we filmed the books out of order. Who cares? And yeah, so the story of Casino Royale is basically get money back from this terrorist in a gambling ring. Which, after I saw somebody who kind of dove into that and said like, hey, why don't we just do this? Yeah, especially from what I said about my Die Another Day review. I promise I'm not going to quote that much, but you're probably not going to like how I review this one. Because honestly, for story, it didn't do it for me. It just didn't. Because the story is just a gambling thing. That's it. I think for like, during the Dr. No era, that would have been a little more acceptable, but here, you can only make that so interesting, and it just doesn't do it for me in this one. It just doesn't. And it's more the character's fault than it is the story. It's not necessarily the story's fault, but because of the characters, the story suffers. So for that reason, I give story a half a star. Moving on to scenery. Scenery is, again, pretty average for the most part, because most of the time you're in a building. One building. And it's hard to follow everything that's going on. That's the same thing with story. It's kind of hard to follow. Most of this movie is, like, hard to follow. And considering this comes after Die Another Day, although it's technically supposed to be before Dr. No, even though it has gadgetry that is, like, better than in Dr. No. No, we're not going to talk about the timeline right now. We're going to save that for later. Quote me on that. I'm saving that timeline thing for later. I almost ruined that thing. I almost ruined that. But anyway. So yeah, the whole scenery makes it hard to follow. Story's hard to follow. Sorry I didn't put that there. Scenery. Let's talk about scenery. It just doesn't fully do it for me. It just doesn't. So for that reason, I give scenery a half a star as well, just because it just doesn't fully work for me. Moving on to follow-up. This doesn't now, again, hard to do considering Casino Royale is technically supposed to be before Dr. No, but considering I'm calling it a follow-up, it follows up Die Another Day. And considering I really like Die Another Day, this doesn't do as much as it did in Die Another Day. I'd rather watch Die Another Day than Casino Royale. I'm going to be flat out honest, because Casino Royale it just is underwhelming for me, considering the lack of stuff that's going on. I like having stuff going on, and for this, it just doesn't fully work to that advantage. So yeah, Die Another Day, I'll be honest, it didn't have that many shoes to fill. Even though I gave it a really good rating, it didn't have that many shoes to fill. Casino Royale didn't do that. So, for that reason, I give follow-ups half a star as well. It just doesn't work. Moving on to theme song. You know, this is kind of a trend for me because I really like the theme song for Casino Royale. Something I've noticed, I've given Bond movies that I've rated lower, like 8.5 and lower, their theme songs, for the most part, did really good for me. You Know My Name, or the Casino Royale theme, is one of my personal favorites. Every time that is played on my iPod, I will listen to it, because it is downright awesome. If anything, from the reboot, the music definitely got better for the Bond franchise. If that is anything to come out of this film. The music is amazing. And the credits that are going on are just amazing. I wish the rest of the film could have been a little more like that, where, yeah, it takes place in a casino, but some different types of action-packed stuff is going on, but that doesn't seem to be the case. But the theme song is really awesome, so I give theme song a star. Finally, moving on to characters. Daniel Craig as Bond. Now, I hate to reference the other two movies that he's in, but I'm going to. When I first saw Casino Royale, I wasn't that impressed with his acting. I wasn't. It didn't feel James Bond to me. And unfortunately, it doesn't feel like he's James Bond until in Skyfall, which we will be reviewing after we review one other one. After we review this. We're almost done with these reviews, folks. Just hold on with me here. And yeah, he just doesn't do it for me in these first two films, especially this one. He just doesn't do it for me. Now, I'll be honest, he does better in this one than he does in Quantum, and I'll talk about Quantum another time, but yeah, for this, his acting doesn't do it. I don't feel he's Bond in this, especially considering he only says his name once. The way every other Bond guy says it at the beginning of the film, and he waits till the end to say it. It's just like, dude, really? Bond girls do okay, actually. The Bond girl for this one, I can't remember her name, but she does a pretty good job, and I really am compelled until she betrays Bond for absolutely no reason, when you could just said, hey, this guy's chasing me, he wants me to give him this money, here's this money, could you federally protect me like you tried to protect Le Chiffre, which we'll talk about him in a second. But no, she just does that and gets herself screwed over. Yeah, sucks. And I didn't mention M. God. Crap. Didn't mention M and Q and all that stuff. Sorry I have to do this. In Die Another Day, M branch and Q branch were more interactive. This film, not so much. M was way more interactive, I'll say that. She got out of the office way more, so I'll give her credit for giving herself more screen time. But Q Branch wasn't even in this film. So that really drops it, because he's not... A Q or Q Branch is nowhere in this film, so there isn't any fun in that. Moving on to villains and henchmen. There are no henchmen in this film. I'd like to address that. There just aren't really any henchmen in this film. You can count that bomber guy, but he died off pretty quickly, so that doesn't really count. So I can only go off the villain, which is Le Chiffre, and he does not do a good job as a villain. Well, I take that back. He does a good job. I would have just liked him to die a little more climactically or have more conflict with Bond. He doesn't. He's there, he tortures Bond, he gets killed by one of his own people, so he doesn't do anything, really. He just doesn't. But still, I have to give this film credit because it's trying to reboot a franchise. So I still gave characters a star because despite the fact that it doesn't work for me, I can understand that they do well. So I give characters a star. So all in all, I give this film a 8.5. Which I think is a honest enough rating. I can understand some people who'd give it a 9 or even a 9.5, but for me, Casino Royale just doesn't fully work for me. Yeah, it just doesn't. So you can send me your hate mail again. Don't worry, I will make up for any form of anger that I have caused with my next review, which, speaking of which, what is next time? That one. The one that every Bond fan complains about more than Die Another Day. Thank you for being there so you can at least take some pressure off Die Another Day, but that one. That one. That one, and then we got one more, folks. That's it. This has been Solomon Pleasant, signing off. That one.